Hello, and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, court vacates restraining order on INEC orders. Conduct of supplementary election in Adamawa as PDP candidate Bala Mohammed wins Bauchi governorship poll. Appeal court nullifies Zamfara APC primaries. And later on the show, President Buhari receives report on Presidential Technical Advisory Committee on minimum wage, promises speedy review of recommendations. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamil. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Many thanks for joining us again. The rigmarole surrounding the governorship election in Nigeria is stretching key players of the process. In the process, beyond limits. After much inconclusive and litigations ailing from the process, what is probably the longest electoral contest in Nigeria's political history is about to be concluded. An Adamawa State High Court sitting in Yola has vacated its earlier order restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from conducting supplementary election in the states. The court ordered INEC to go ahead with the rerun. However, the governorship rerun in Bauchi State has been concluded following similar court pronouncements. INEC declared candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Bala Mohammed, winner of the election after polling 515,113 votes. It defeated the incumbent Mohammed Abubakar, who got 500,625 votes. Babajide, let's start from Adamawa State. What is really happening in Adamawa State? At what point in time did they stop collation of results? At what point in time was an other decision to get a rerun in Adamawa State? Who went to courts? And INEC, they vacated the court order. So what next? Just give us an overview of how we got here in Adamawa State.
Well, it's unfortunate that we had to put through this needless delay in respect of the election in Adamawa State, because Adamawa, as far as I'm concerned, the election has since ended. The winner has since emerged.
What do you mean by that?
There's no act, there's no miracle by which Governor Bindo can be re-elected.
No miracle?
There is no miracle by which he can be elected. I say that because I'm doubly sure. So, it's just like, his case is similar to the Benue case between Jime of the APC and Otom of the PDP. And I predicted that rather than Jime overturning the deficit, that Otom will actually increase the margin. And that's exactly what has happened. Otom increased the margin after the rerun. So in this case, the governor of Adamawa is not sufficiently popular to overturn a deficit in excess of 30,000.
30,000?
It's not going to happen.
But see, 24,000 happened in Kano.
No, Kano is not Adamawa. 26,000 in Kano.
Yes.
Kano is not Adamawa. Bindo is not Ganduje. Bindo is not Ganduje. So if it happened in Adamawa and you think it can happen in Bauchi, let's place a bet on national television. Let us see what we have. There's no way, I repeat, there's no way that Governor Bindo can overturn that deficit, which is in excess of 30,000, because the truth is, not all of the people in the 14 local governments where rerun will take place, not all the registered voters there have PVC. So if you have a margin of, say, 33,000 to cover, even if all of them vote for him,
how many people?
All the people, even if all the people who have PVC in that state vote for him, he will still not win the election. Mark my words. He will still not win the election. Look at even the House of Assembly rerun that were held there. PDP cleared the House of Assembly wrong. The truth is, the problem in Bauchi had been there for so long. I mean, in Adamawa had been there for so long. APC leaders didn't do the right thing. They didn't fix the problem. And there is no state where that I consistently complain about the crisis in the APC, like Adamawa State. It's on record that I continue to complain that they had issues in Adamawa, that these problems in Adamawa needed to be resolved. But it was like I was talking to a wall. And for some of our people, when you talk about this, they will tell you, oh, maybe there's crisis in PDP too. Why are you always talking about the crisis in APC? Now we know better, because we can see the states that APC have lost. The states that APC lost in this election are greater than the states that the PDP lost. So when you dismiss a problem that, look, you are not the only one who have crisis, PDP too, their problems are greater. This election has not shown us that the problems of PDP are greater. Because you look at those states, including key states, today, PDP has 3 states in the Northeast. It was not like that before. Despite the fact that APC gained Gombe, they are now going to share the Northeast equally. Because of the crisis in Oyo, and some of the things, some of the actions of the incumbent governor, they lost Oyo State by a wide margin. So the truth is, when you have crisis, you must do your best to solve those problems. If you don't solve those problems will bite back, and you will see the result. In those 2 northeastern states, Bauchi and Adamawa, I predicted that the APC would not win in those 2 states. And that is what will happen.
Mojil, give us a breakdown. What are we playing for?
Yeah, just like Jide said, we have constantly said this on JH, that Adamawa is on the edge for the ruling party. And now, to drive the numbers home, I mean, to show how the incumbent has lost this game, that it is a no contest. So now we have Umaru Fintiri of the PDP coming with a 32,476 margin edge from the main election. Total registered number of voters in the 14 local government areas where the supplementary election we hold on Thursday, March 28th, is 40,988. That's total number of registered voters.
Number of registered voters.
And
different from...
Listen, those who have PVCs is 31,000 or thereabout. So not even up to the margin.
So there is no need for a contest.
Even the margin, but INEC will tell you they deal with registered number of voters and not PVCs. Now, even if the PDP guys stay at home and just watch on Thursday, it will still win the election.
Even if they tie his hand to his back.
You see, it's like the rerun that was ordered in Ekiti. I won in the 26th House of Assembly election. I mean, the PDP guys saw that there was no need for it, so he didn't even send delegates. He didn't even go there, because the APC guy was leading with 1,800 Juwadegbuyi, while the PDP, the total number of registered voters in the area under dispute was 2,200. And the total number of those who collected PVC was 1,600. So if all the 1,600 voted for PDP, it would still have lost. So that's the same case we have in Adamawa. So it's like there's no need for this exercise. And there is no way you can have more than 80% or even 70% of those who have PVCs voting.
Even Kano that has the highest turnout.
So it's
even Kano that has the highest
So this is what we have.
Those are the figures.
That's Jubril Bindo.
That is it. Bindo is leading with 32,476 difference. So that's the margin. and the number of votes in contest in contest is 40,988. Yeah, that's the cancelled votes, and the PVCs collected out of the 40,000. You can see it on your screen. Out of the 40,988 is 31,000. So even if all the 31,000 goes to APC,
it will still lose
the election.
And
so
it's not even possible.
It's not even possible because
Fintiri will gain more.
It will gain more. I see
because a lot of those local governments are PDP strongholds.
Apart from that, I mean, people will say that there's no point going to queue or waste your vote because I mean, it won't be adding to the number. So I see this margin increasing from 36 to about 38 or more.
Babajide, how did Governor Bindo get his politics wrong? It started on a good notes, and at what point in time? Because even within APC, the intra-party crisis has been in Adamawa State APC for long.
Yes, because he got into office and decided to treat shabbily the people who ensured that he won the election. Remember, I've always said that Governor Bindo rode on the wings of the Unyako political family to power. Unyako had the biggest structures, the most effective in the state. And Unyako supporters backed him. They backed him for the primaries. 2 times, Bindo defeated Atiku Abubakar's candidate to win the primaries. Now, after he became governor, he turned against Bindo. I mean, Unyako. He began probing Unyako. He even allegedly instigated the Emirate Council to derobe Unyako and his son. Both of them had chieftaincy titles, and those chieftaincy titles were taken away. You know, Abdulaziz was Seriki Matasa, they took it away. Baba Mangoro was Seriki Yama, they took it away. You don't fight people. If you want to fight people, take your second term ticket first. Yeah. I don't know how some governors reason. Take your second term ticket, especially if the person you want to fight is strong. Yeah. Take your second term ticket, behave like a monkey, let them give you that ticket first. Once you've won, what you intend to do, you can then do. You know? So in his own case, he fought them, and from the beginning, they continue. You know, at a point, it looked like he was moving towards Atiku. And many APC members were not comfortable with his visit to Atiku. In fact, there's a picture of him sitting down on the floor with Atiku sitting on his couch. And they are like, look, you are the repository of the respect of the state. You don't go and sit on the floor while the man you are visiting is sitting on his couch. So all of these things, the fact that he was beginning to move towards Atiku made some of the APC members to begin to see him as not loyal to the party. Yeah. And then he began to reward some non-PDP members with appointments and the rest of them. So he successfully alienated a big chunk of APC supporters. That was why you saw what happened during the primaries. People like Nuri Badu and the rest of them, they were angry. People like Bidi Lawa, Babashi Lawa, they were angry about the way the thing went. Yes. So at the end of the day, what happened? When the governor of Nasarawa State, who was asked to go and make peace in the northeast, when he went to Adamawa, he didn't achieve anything. Because people like Nuri Badu said, well, there's nothing to say. They refused. And on election day, a lot of the people who actually fight for the governor, they stayed put in Abuja. They didn't go there to go and fight for him. And you can't win the election alone. And since 2016, I've been warning about what will happen in Bauchi. APC leaders cannot say that they didn't hear me talking about it repeatedly. All they felt was that, Baba Mongoro's structures have been taken away. It's no longer effective. But Baba Mongoro's son, Abdulaziz, Emirate Alan Yako, decided to contest on the platform of the ADC or so. He did not contest to win. He contested just to smash APC's votes. Yeah. And that's what has happened. Otherwise, if the party was together, because all of these same people, they voted for Buhari, All this, the Yako group, they voted for Buhari in the presidency.
Like
But they made up their mind that for governorship, it will not be Bindo. Bindo, they began to fight Bindo. Bindo didn't have peace. So this was an outcome easy to predict. If we go back to what I said that day, when we were talking, I said, in a free and fair election, there is no way the governor Adamawa will be re-elected. Because I knew what was on ground. So this is the thing, it's a lesson. You come into power, unite your party members. You go to war as one. That is the best guarantee for victory. But if you are divided, everyone pulling in different directions, then you can be sure that you'll be defeated.
Now let's go to Bauchi State. MJ, what happened?
Yeah,
All of a sudden, INEC evacuated the court injunction yesterday, and the collation started. For Jack Robinson, they've announced the results.
Yeah, you know, the contentious local government was
Tafawa
Balewa, and just like Adamawa. But it's rather unfortunate that I had expected that the former FCT minister who suffered a similar fate in 2015, who is now the poster boy now. I mean, he has won this election. You know, it came with a 4,000 margin into the main election, and he was able to extend the lead by another 10,000 to about now. He won with about 14,800 votes. So that's tough.
That has always been the stronghold of
that
the
is
PDP.
it. Tafawa Balewa is the stronghold of the PDP. Then
That's
don't forget that
constituency.
Dogara too wanted to make
He got his ticket back.
He got his ticket. Now he has the governorship. So he is sitting down comfortably. So even if he fails to get anything substantial at the House of Reps, he knows that if he comes back to Bauchi, he can have a good reception at the government house. So, but it's also a lesson, like Jide said, it's a lesson to, I mean, this is an incumbent that has failed to win a re-election, just like Adamawa. You must put your house in order.
He was defeated in his polling unit.
Yeah, he was defeated. Yeah,
he was defeated by Bala in his polling unit.
And it's
Bala is doing something right there.
The flip side to this is a case of three Mohammeds now. Bala Mohammed, Abubakar Mohammed, and also the returning officer, Professor Kiari Mohammed. So you have a Mohammed announcing both the winner and the loser. That's just the flip side to what happened. But then, jokes apart, it is a lesson. You know, Ganduje is lucky in Kano because where the contentious area where he had about 76,000 votes cancelled, I mean, it's a stronghold. You know, he came with a deficit of 26,000 plus, which he was able to overturn and even surpassed by winning with about 8,000 votes. But unlike the Mohammeds in Bauchi and Bindo in Adamawa, I mean, it was a Herculean task because, see, we are getting to a point in Nigeria where it will be very, very difficult for you to manipulate elections where you are not strong. That is, people will stay with you, and the moment the form EC8A is filled at the polling unit, it will be difficult for even the INEC officer or the returning officer there to help you. So that's why I keep saying electioneering in Nigeria is a very strategic move which involves a lot of money. If your agent is not well mobilized, he can look the other way and allow the other guys to do whatever they want at the polling unit. And the moment you get it wrong at the polling unit, from the polling unit you move to the ward, from the ward to the local government, from local government to state, then probably constituency, I mean, depending on which election is involved. So it's a graduated process. The moment you miss it from the polling unit, then the game is up.
Babajide, the People's Democratic Party actually, they're making some inroads because when you look at the texture of this election,
Big gains in this election.
big gains, Adamawa,
Bauchi,
Sokoto,
Benue.
Benue, and you know, it was almost a no-go area for the People's Democratic Party apart from Gombe and Taraba
and Imo State.
Do you understand? So this 2019 election is good for
It's good. Even
in
when
terms of governorship.
You know, when you look at like some of El-Rufai supporters, Because I said that El-Rufai will fight the battle of his life in this election. Some of them went to town saying, oh, Jide's prediction against El-Rufai didn't work. But go and look at the margin.
It was very narrow.
In 2015, El-Rufai scored over 1 million. Yeah. The man who came second to him scored just 400 and something. In this election, El-Rufai scored a little over 1 million, and the person who came second scored over 800,000.
Yeah.
So how is the prediction wrong? Then in this same election in Kaduna State, PDP gained more assembly seats than 2015.
Than 2015.
Okay.
So it's not a case of, I still stand on what I said, that he will fight a big battle in the election. That's what happened.
Okay, let me quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still Journalist Hangout. And we are looking at the gains of the People's Democratic Party in the governorship election, particularly. Babajide, there used to be a time that I was looking at it. There was a time that the PDP had in the country control of like 28 states, sometimes 32 states out of 36. And when APC came in 2015, APC, they were firmly in control of 22 states. Right now, what we are looking at here across the country, I think the spread in 2015, after the 2015 election, the governorship election effectively confined the PDP to a southeast and south predominantly. Yes. So why they just have Taraba and Gombe up north, but it was basically like a regional party. But right now, the PDP is making a very good showing.
Yes, and to go back to what we were saying about Kaduna State, as I said, El-Rufai supporters, including some of his aides, keep saying that my prediction that Governor El-Rufai will fight the battle of his life to win the contest was wrong, that my prediction was wrong. Mojid will give us the figures now for 2015 and for 2019.
Hold on.
In 2015, for the benefit of our viewers, El-Rufai won Yero then with 1,117,000 votes to Yero's 485,000. That's about 700,000 difference. Yes. Yeah. But coming to 2019, we had 1,045,000. It still maintained that range, but the PDP candidate now got 814,000.
So the margin is less than 200.
About 200,000. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, less than 200,000.
Less than 200 to over
700,000.
I had this call from Taraba State. Thank you for joining us. Kennedy.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Well, Babajide just got everything right. It's like Babajide is supposed to transfer himself from Kogi State back to the northern part of Nigeria on a very serious note. He actually got it right by saying, look, Bindo actually rode into being the governor of Adamawa State under the wings of the former governor of Adamawa State, that is Murtala Nyako. Immediately he got into that seat, he fighted everybody. Let me tell you categorically, the late governor of Taraba State was the one that made Bindo who he is today. I'm a living witness. When he came, he was actually looking for the seat to become a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was late number of us that gave him money in my presence. But immediately he got that seat, he fighted everybody. So the truth of the matter is a lesson to both political parties and all the political structures of this country. They should learn their lesson that this country should not be taken for granted anymore. God bless you, Abajide. God bless everybody, activity, and stay blessed.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Kennedy.
So the margin of his win this time around is less than 200,000.
Less than 200.
The margin of his win in 2015 was more than 700,000. So how was the prediction wrong? The prediction was not wrong. We saw what was coming, that it would be a close contest. You cannot call that a landslide. No, that's not, by the definition of landslide, it's not a landslide. And when we say that this election will be close, this is exactly what has happened. An election being close is not simply in terms of the number of votes that you record, even the spread. When you look at the presidential election, the PDP surprised me by the number of states that they won.
17 states, including the federal capital
Making
territory.
18.
Making 18.
Now, the president got 19.
19 states.
Yeah.
So if you are saying that is not close in terms of spread, then what is it? So this is the thing. And the implication of this is that the APC needs to work harder ahead of 2023. Because 2023, before 2023, there will be some elections.
Yeah.
We'll have some elections, you know. So those elections will be big battles for those two main parties. Anambra.
Yeah.
Anambra is possible for PDP to win Anambra
Yeah.
because PDP is stronger than ABGA in Anambra.
Yeah.
They just have a governor. When you look at the National Assembly election, for example, you see that PDP dominated. And PDP won the presidential election in that state. So that's a state that they can take away. If care is not taken, then you have Kogi, you have Edo, which they won in the presidential election. So there's a lot for Oshomole and his troops to fight for. They have to find a way to unite the party, make the party strong again. Otherwise, the same PDP that they were ridiculing, that they are dead, you just see that they are bouncing back.
Okay, Friday is calling us from Abuja.
That any governor that did not perform will be shown from the office. And I want to appreciate TVC for what you guys are doing. I actually want to talk with... Hello?
Yes, you're on.
We can hear you.
Okay. What I'm saying is that what is happening in Adamawa and Bauchi is a pointer to those governors that are not performing, most especially from my state, Kogi State. It's a pointer to the governor of Kogi State that what is happening in Adamawa and Bauchi will soon befall him in Kogi State. And I want to appreciate my brother. You claim that you are from the city because of the bad governance you are having in Kogi State. No, you have to come back home. You have to join hands to remove him by 21st November this year. Thank you very much.
Babajide,
I'm not a politician.
Babajide, on the contrary, in Kogi State, APC won the entire House of Assembly. How do you reconcile that? Is it a reflection? And you say Yaya Bello is not doing well. Still, the people still voted for APC across the board.
I don't know how they voted for him. Maybe we need to investigate how those votes came. I know that in Kogi East, for example, on election day, a particular candidate's house was surrounded. You know? So if a candidate's house was surrounded, how does he mobilize on election day? How does he mobilize on election day? So people can win. They can dominate the entire, they can dominate House of Assembly election. It depends on which election the people are interested in. We've seen, look at what is happening. Let me give you some statistics about Bauchi. In Bauchi, APC won all the Senate seats. APC won 7 House of Rep seats. PRP won 2 and PDP won. House of Assembly seats in Bauchi, APC won 20. PDP won 6. PRP won 3. And NMPP 1. But why didn't the APC win the governorship?
No, Jide,
So it doesn't, you see, the governorship...
In addition to that, this governorship election, the PDP candidate actually won in 7 local governments out of 20. The APC guy won in 13. But the margin of win in the 7 local governments where he has comparative advantages, I mean, well, he won with landslide.
No, it depends on the local government.
Yes.
Look at Bauchi, for example.
Like Bauchi local government.
They defeated it with a huge margin.
Huge margin.
So if you,
whereas
like
in his starting local governments, he was winning with like 500.
Those are not even
very
densely
small,
populated.
very small margins.
So
you can imagine 7 local governments
it's just like
upturning
America,
13.
4 states in America.
Yeah.
The population of 4 states in America could be more
Ohio,
than the population of 20 states.
California,
Ohio,
I think Florida.
Florida,
New
York.
New York.
Those 4 states, if you get those 4 states, you have your electoral college.
So
electoral
It's not about the majority vote.
that is it with the
can
electoral
win,
college.
Yaya Bello can win he can clear all the House of Assembly election. Let him be gloating about winning House of Assembly election. The real battle is the governorship. And if the governorship will be free and fair. If no one will be allowed to use thugs, use soldiers, including thugs that they bought army uniform for, then we can look forward to a free and fair election. If the election is free and fair, I will be happy to see the outcome. I'll be able to predict exactly what will happen. But for now, he has won assembly seats. It's his own seat that is the main one that the people are after. So when you look at Bauchi, APC cleared all the other elections, but they couldn't win the governorship.
The governorship seat.
Because that is the one that the people are after. Even in Sokoto, APC dominated all the other elections, but they couldn't get Tambuwal out of office.
All right, moving on now. Just when we thought that the debacle in Zamfara State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, is over, we have been given a rude awakening that he is still dangling in our democracy like the sword of Damocles. Now, the Sokoto division of the Court of Appeal has set aside the judgment of the Zamfara State High Court, which allowed the APC to field candidates in the 2019 elections. Delivering the lead judgment, Justice Tom Yakubu ruled that the lower court failed to properly evaluate the matter. Hence, the party primaries stand nullified. Mojid, this is another drama. This court is saying that you can't hold a primary where it was out of 4 people that was contesting or so. It was only one of the candidates. One of the aspirants was present. And if you look at this kind of judgments, I'm sure APC will appeal to the Supreme Court. But eventually, if the Supreme Court affirms this judgment, the implication could be that in the APC won the governorship, APC won substantial number of the House of Assembly, APC won the Senate seats, APC won the substantial part of the House of Representative seats. There's going to be a big political drama. You know,
the lesson I want us to take from the judgment of the appeal court as delivered by the lead judge, Justice Tom Shuaibu Yakubu. He said he wants this judgment to serve as a bitter lesson.
Bitter.
As a bitter lesson. That's those wise words. He said he wants this judgment to serve as a bitter lesson, in quotes, to those who feel that to political parties who feel because they're in power, because you are the one in charge, you can just do whatever you want. You can see what happened in Ogun State. You can see what happened in Imo. I mean, these are lessons that our political leaders must learn. Now, he said, going further, he said, there is no way you can use an oral evidence to override a written evidence as regards the conduct of the primaries. You know, the court, the High Court in Zamfara had initially, I mean, about 2 or 3 days to the election, he gave the verdict compelling INEC to allow APC field its candidates based on the primaries. But now, the appeal court, I mean, Senator Kabru Marafa and some other 128 others, members of the APC, went to the appellate court feeling dissatisfied with the judgment of the lower court, saying that, come, we want justice, and we are aggrieved. So they went to court, and they are getting a judgment, at least as we speak. So INEC, although INEC said as at yesterday that they were yet to be served a copy of the judgment, so they said whether or not they will proceed with the issuance of the certificate of return will depend on when they get that judgment. But the lesson here, according to Justice Tom Yakubu, is that this will serve as a bitter lesson. If, peradventure, the case gets to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court upholds the verdict of the appellate court, then it means the APC and its candidates has lost, just like what happened in Rivers. I was going to mention Rivers too.
That was what I want to say. So that it's as if
when
the
you
APC,
allow
they
internal
don't have
strife,
internal mechanism or coping, quelling, resettling their rifts. Now you have a Senator Magnus Abe. We took the party to court and they got to the Supreme Court level And till now, they don't have a candidate. The same thing, Marafa, it took the party to court till to ensure at the end of the day, everything, the party stands to lose. So something is wrong with the IPC.
Well, something is wrong with APC, no doubt about it. And I've always spoken about the need for them to come together, to unite. But what is happening in Zamfara, many people are misunderstanding this judgment. This is not a final judgment by that same appeal court. The appeal court has indicated its desire to proceed with a hearing of the substantive matter. Okay. The appeal court set aside the primaries on the basis of the lower court not in examining the evidence adduced for primaries. It did not use it used oral evidence, whereas in our law the evidence provided, written evidence supersedes oral evidence. Yeah. So now the two parties in the matter will go before the same appeal court and argue the matter of documented evidence, in written form. Because the truth is, when the Marafa group made the submission to the judge, they didn't include the what's it called? They didn't include the documentary evidence of the correspondence between INEC. You know, if we go down memory lane, INEC wrote to the party that they will not be allowed to field candidates. Yeah. And the party wrote back to say, we will field candidates because we had primaries. Now, the evidence that you had primaries, you must also provide it in written form.
Not oral.
So now, in the submission that Marafa's group made to the judge, they presented the matter like there was no written or documentary evidence of the primaries taking place. This is a very easy case for the other group. They just need to go before the judge since the matter is still on. Don't also forget that this same tribunal, because people have been asking me, Jide, what will happen? Jide, what will happen? This appeal court didn't give any consequential order. It didn't tell INEC to not issue certificate of return. Yeah, it didn't say that it was cancelling the election. No, this trial has begun. It's not a final verdict. But for the trial to proceed, it has agreed that, yes, it's going to hear this matter. And before hearing the matter, it has to first set aside the matter of the lower court, which gave them a judgment.
Leave to present.
Now, the other thing is that within 14 days, you must appeal a judgment of this form. This appeal is coming 95 days after. There's no way issues like this will not come up in the upper court, you know. So, but the thing is, all they need to do is go there, argue, show clearly that, look, we have written, we have documented evidence that we had primaries. All the correspondence between the parties and the INEC will have to be provided. And don't also forget that a court of concurrent jurisdiction, of concurrent powers, that is the appeal court, mandated the INEC to include the name of APC on the ballot. So it wasn't the lower court in Gusau that ordered INEC to put the names of INEC, APC candidates on the ballot. It was an appeal court too. So that judgment is there. And you know, the way the matter is going now, an election has taken place. An election has taken place. Okay. You cannot This matter may eventually be a matter for the tribunal to handle, because the winner has emerged. You cannot take.
We have a caller.
You can't take that away until.
Thank you for calling us.
Thank you, journalist. I'm enjoying your program.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling from Ikotun. I want to. I don't know whether I told you whether he has jurisprudence idea on politics that is being played in Lagos, in Nigeria. I can see the way he analyzes and is accurate as regards his analysis. Well, if we are to go by the calculation of the 2019 election, I want to point out an issue here. If you look at the way the elections are held, you will discover that what the people wanted was the presidency. That's what APC should get. On the issue of the governors, sorry for taking you back, on the issue of the governors, we will discover that the president decided to leave them since they cannot settle themselves. They couldn't settle their home, so he left them alone to go and fight for themselves. If you look at Kano, if you look at Bauchi, if you look at Adamawa and the rest of them, they were allowed to face the consequences of their stubbornness. Because really, APC is also have won all those states.
Thank you, Cyprian. Thank you for your contribution.
So let me conclude what I'm saying.
We have to do that quickly.
Now, let me conclude. The APC, the lawyers of the Zamfara APC, all they need to do is present that the documented evidence that they had primaries. You know, that is what they will argue in court now, because the case is on. It is after that the arguments have been had from both sides that the final judgment by the appeal court will now happen. This is a trial in progress. A lot of people actually think that this judgment has come. No, the judge has only agreed to hear the appeal. And in hearing the appeal, he first set aside this one, and then he say, okay, come forward and prove to us that you actually did this, you actually did that. One thing they can argue is to say, look, the window for appeal has closed a long time ago. So if you're appealing 95 days after the window closed, then of course it is wrong. It is wrong.
All right, moving on now. The nagging new minimum wage question in Nigeria remains unanswered, but hope of implementation of the 30,000 naira figure for workers is in the offing following the passage of by the National Assembly. Another cheering news in this regard is that President Muhammadu Buhari has received the report of the Presidential Technical Advisory Committee on the implementation of the new minimum wage. Receiving the report in Abuja, President Buhari promised speedy review of the recommendations. We are gradually coasting home on this. MJ, Bismarck Rewani, Technical Committee.
Yeah, the president was actually full of praises and adoration for the Bismarck Rewani Committee when that report was submitted yesterday. And although we don't have details of what the report contains, but then I think for the benefit of our viewers, we should let Nigerians know that both the two chambers of the National Assembly has already approved 30,000 minimum wage for workers. So now the job of the committee, as spelled out in the TOR, the terms of reference on January 9, when they were saddled with that responsibility, was to look for sustainable ways of ensuring that the new minimum wage, which is coming with an increment, is paid without an adverse effect on our fragile economy. You know, we are just coming out of recession, and also to find out how this minimum wage would be paid by states that are already in pains, so to say, and also minimize the inflationary trends that could arise from the payment of this minimum wage by the various tiers of government and even the organized private sector. So, and also to look at probably deriving a new revenue formula or probably a VAT. That's why you could see that the FRS, the National Bureau of Statistics, the Budget and Planning Ministry, as well as even some private sectors like Access Bank, PricewaterhouseCoopers, they were all part of the committee, and the president actually mentioned them. And while also appreciating the fact that the organized labor has been very cooperative in terms of not calling out the workers of, I mean, at a point we were thinking probably the elections will not even hold as a result of, because if you don't get anything before the election in Nigeria, I mean, you can as well kiss it goodbye. But then another point is that we should not wait for a 5 or 10 year cycle to agitate for minimum wage. Now, I've said this on this program times without number that we can actually look at the California agreement, which was signed in Sacramento, where on a yearly basis, if it is 2% or 3% increment on minimum wages, then nobody will feel it, but then it will be a gradual thing, rather than wait for 5 years to jump from 18 to 30,000.
So officially, this new minimum wage, apparently it has come to stay, Babajide, and looking at the recommendation of this committee, Bismarck Rewarding Committee, what does the federal government intend to do about, you know, revenue? People, I learned that the state governors have been agitating that the revenue formula should be changed.
I don't know whether President Buhari will be really warm to the idea of tinkering with the revenue allocation formula. States complain that they need to earn more from the federation account, but the needs of the federal government are also expanding. The needs of the federal government are expanding. If this minimum wage, by the time we start implementing this minimum wage now, you see clearly that what the federal government will be spending on wages of its workers will go up significantly, because before now, I think at least as at even 2016, the wage bill of the federal workforce, the wage bill was in excess of 150 billion
every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
So now,
So right now we should be looking at
now
300,
450.
450.
If we add this minimum wage, because the minimum wage will lead to graduated increase in salaries across board.
Yeah.
If they don't do that, someone below your rank will come and start earning the same salary as you. So it has an increase in minimum wage has a kind of ripple effect on everyone. So it may then mean that the federal government, the wage bill, could go to as high as maybe 250 billion to 280 billion a month. You know, I'm just giving a conservative. I'm just being conservative. So you can't say that the federal government, its needs are not multiplying. And look at security, look at the cost of buying arms. We want to defeat Boko Haram, because we've not defeated it. No matter what we've been saying for years, we've not defeated Boko Haram. We must buy arms, and these weapons cost a lot of money. It is not from states that the money will come from. It's the federal government that must find the money from its own share of distributable revenue from the federation account. So whether President Buhari will agree to the idea is something that I really don't know. But in my view, and I've canvassed this over time, but it seems that I've been talking to a wall all along. States can't continue to carry burdens that are unnecessary. You have redundant workforce. Why don't you do something about the redundant workforce? Do something about it. We've seen governors who did that. I always talk about Governor Tinubu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He did it during his first term. That's the most dangerous time to do that kind of thing. He wasn't scared of not being re-elected, but he did it. You know? So, and at the end of the day, he right-sized the Lagos civil service. governors must show courage. They must do it, especially now that a lot of them have secured second term. So this
So
is the
it should
time
be
to
easier
do
now.
it. Yes, if you don't need them, if there are 15 drivers in a ministry where you do not have more than 5 cars and you have 15 drivers, you've got to let some of them go so that you can pay those who are left. You know?
Pay them well.
Yes, you can pay those who are left. Look at, are we saying now that even in because the private sector are part of this decision through NECA? They were part of this decision.
Yeah.
So are we saying that in the private sector that they are not going to let redundant workforce go?
Do they even
That
allow
if-
redundancy? They
if
don't.
they
They
don't-
don't even.
You see, when they look at their margin, they look at how much it will cost them to pay, to pay workers in the event of this increase in minimum wage. They are going to then do something about the workforce, and that will reduce, because whether we like it or not, prices will go up. When prices go up, their own profits will slide. And once that slides, they must they must take some really strong decisions. So this is in my view, this is what we can do. I always commend El-Rufai because of his courage. At least he had to let some redundant workers go. But most governors cannot find the courage, and that is the thing. And we cannot solve this problem unless we are prepared to take that kind of measure.
MJ.
Yeah, I think beyond asking for minimum wage all the time, organized labor should also help the federal government by allowing the federal government and the states to allow some of these general water to go. I keep giving an example here. I was DG in a radio station where we had 245 workers. Today, I have a private radio station of my own where I have just 15 people. 15 people, and we run almost 12 hours daily.
Yes.
So, what are we talking about?
You don't need them.
Do
let
you
them
guys
go.
get subventions, yeah? No, TVC doesn't get subvention.
And we are getting by.
No subvention for channels, but NTA, all the state radio and TV stations, they get subventions. Still, they cannot match the effectiveness of a TVC or a channels. So what are we talking about?
Thank you for the endorsement. Thank you. Babaji Dani, I want to thank you for being part of the program. And Babajide Kolade Otoju, thank you, the master himself. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. And also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubako. See you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.